Welcome everybody to Horrors of History. I am your host, Rendrag Selak, and here we are in beautiful downtown Newport, right by the breakers. Now, this being Black History Month, I have been very bad at pulling up some of the history I said I would start to, and I haven't really broken bread with that yet. So why not break bread on where my ancestors laid and how they played a very I'd say unhonorable way towards the history, and then later on would correct their ways of being. So right out here in this ocean right here, my ancestor Caleb Gardner was one of the many merchants that used this sea and would later on become a spy during the Revolutionary War. Now Caleb did some stuff that I would consider unhonorable, and back then it was considered business. He was a slave merchant. He had vessels where he was transporting the let's put it this way, the black folks from Africa to here. Now, Caleb, right after the Revolutionary War, decided what he was doing. He knew that it was not good. So upon the freedom of our country, he thought it was in his best interest to free anybody that he had brought over here and made them free men. Not only did he free them, but that's where the Gardner name comes from with the African Americans. He had given them our last name to use. He had felt really horrible at what he had done, and Caleb not only was inspirational in making our country free, but he was also inspirational in making sure that Rhode Island, when it was signing the Constitution, would abolish slavery. That's one of the reasons this was the 13th state to sign that Constitution, and we were one of the last to sign it, because there was only 13 colonies at that time. We were the last due to the fact that we did not want slavery to be a thing over here. This would cause a lot of issues amongst Rhode Island, because there was a couple plantations and factories up here that relied on that. Now that this is going to be abolished, well, Rhode Island's going to have to make the state a little harder to live in, much like today. Things were a little more expensive back then for the modern guy to be here, because, well, now that labor that you relied on, you have to pay them. And price of stuff went up inside of here, including goods coming out of here. So that would be the start. Later on, I want to take you guys down to where the French came in, and I want to talk about the 2nd Regiment of Rhode Island. And these gentlemen, a full African-American regiment, would be the unit that would hold off the British during the Battle of Rhode Island. Very inspirational and very, very, very much so necessary during the Revolutionary War. And you can almost say that these guys are the reasons, just like Caleb for pulling in the French, they're also the reason why we are free, because the Battle of Rhode Island is the turning point. It's kind of like the Gettysburg of a Rev War, kind of unique, huh? Kind of like Gettysburg is the turning point of the Civil War, and this is the turning point of this war. And these gentlemen were influential in making sure that this happened. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 2nd Rhode Island when we come back into this. I'll give you guys a guided tour of that. And then I'm also going to go down to where the slave merchants brought them in on the docks, because Newport had it. And I'm going to take a video of where a lot of these poor souls were laid to rest. And hopefully I'll be able to get to their church over here in Newport. So that would be really cool to show you guys this stuff and remind you of the horrors of history and how Rhode Island was not innocent when it came to that stuff. No man should ever own another man, and our ancestors knew that. So the one and only Rendrag Selak, over and out.
Look like. What? What country you from? What? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?